The art that is not for sale is priceless. I decided to start with this quote because most of the artworks that I'm creating are not for sale. And soon you'll understand why. I don't have much experience with video making, so the quality of this video more likely won't be the best, but I hope to do it better later. I guess it's just a matter of time, of experience. My name is Atlant Magistralum. I am the founder of Magistralism art movement, and in this material I'm going to make a brief presentation about Magistralism, which is basically art from God. Magistralism has been founded in 2020. It was just a while later, after I decided to get back close to God, so to say. It was up until this day, I think that it was like basically a reward from God for the fact that I decided to get close to Him. And God can reward people in many different ways, and this was one of the ways in which God basically rewarded me with creativity to initiate this new art movement. Initially, Magistralism's idea was to comprise and reflect everything which is about righteousness, about love, kindness, peace, prosperity, honor, divinity, and so on. Basically, everything which God is all about. And even until this day, Magistralism basically promotes the same ideas, the same values. If I would have to compare Magistralism with other art styles, then I would say that Magistralism basically comprises in itself many other art styles. Not all, but many. And basically, especially those who reflect some of the same ideas. And the closest art styles that are to Magistralism are, first of all, realism, minimalism, pop art, Romanticism, Renaissance, and so on. The list is longer. The entire list can be seen on the website, which can be found in the description below under this video. Now I'm going to present 5 artworks which show the face of Magistralism in its true colors, so to say. And the first one is called Trepidant. This artwork took me less than a year, almost a year to make. But the work wasn't constant, not on a daily basis. From time to time I was making pauses. The name, Trepidant. Trepidant is a Romanian word which means thrilling, something which is highly emotional. As you can see, if you take a close look at the artwork, there are 2 hearts that can be seen in the maze. And these 2 hearts basically represent any 2 possible people that are in the maze of life, so to say, that are trying to run from each other or to find each other. It depends. For every couple it's different. It can be both at the same time, in different times. And the divinity in this artwork, because I said from the very beginning it's art from God, divinity in this artwork is represented by the central element of the maze, which looks like a cross. It was absolutely unintentional when I made it, because I realized that it looks like a cross, the central element, only after I finished to sketch the entire maze on canvas. And Trepidant is basically telling us, if I have to describe it shortly, Trepidant basically is telling us that we as people, we have our own will for our lives, but there is also God's will for people's lives, and God's will always prevails. And this is even basically confirmed even by the Bible, because there is a Bible verse, I'm going to read it now. It's Jeremiah 1:5, and it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." These are basically God's words from the Bible, as a confirmation for what I just said earlier. The second artwork that I'm going to present now is called Dragoste Adevărată. Another Romanian name. Dragoste Adevărată means true love, but the name back then, though at the beginning when I started to create it in 2020, the original name was Verum Amor, which from the Latin language means literally basically the same, true love. I began to create this artwork in 2020 when I fell in love with a girl, thinking back then that the love was true, but later I found out that the love wasn't true, so I could not finish the artwork for years basically, and it was all up until 2026, this year, when I finally realized what true love is, or better to say, who represents it. And it's obviously God, it's Jesus, because Jesus will never lie to you, he will never manipulate you, and he will never betray you. So basically, I decided to use a Christian cross to depict the purest, the only one and true form of love from all that can ever exist, so to say. And there is one well-known saying which sounds like this: God is love. It is well known because it's from the Bible. Bible is the most known book in the world. The statement God is love can be found at least twice in the Bible. First in 1 John 4:8, and then again in 1 John 4:16 as well. The third artwork, which I'm going to present now, is called Mundus Status Quo. It has a long name, a bit tricky to pronounce, but once you learn how to pronounce it, it's easy. Mundus from the Latin language means world, and status quo from Latin as well means the existing general state of affairs at a certain point in time in a certain location. Mundus status quo basically represents, as you can see the artwork, there is a bleeding hand. Mundus status quo represents the bleeding status quo of the world, and at the same time it is a confirmation of the upcoming Great Tribulation. For those who don't know what the Great Tribulation is all about, I recommend to read the Bible. The last book from the Bible basically is telling us that during the Great Tribulation, around 1/4 of the global population will die. 1/4 of the global population today is more than 2 billion people. That's not 2 million, that's 2 billion with B, which sounds scary. It may sound unbelievable for many people, especially for those who are not believers, but it's true. As we know, the Bible is the Word of God, and as we also know, especially as Christian people know, God is not a man that he should lie. That's a literal Bible verse. It's Numbers 23:19. God is never lying. When I created this artwork, I used the ink and acrylic, but later one day I'll have to create it again using blood, my own. The fourth artwork is called Realitas, another Latin name. Realitas from the Latin language means reality. I began to create this artwork with a cup of hot coffee. If you look at the painting, then you'll be able to see, to spot the spot of a spilled coffee. Yesterday I was arranging here the table, everything, starting to prepare for making this video, and I spilled another cup, but this time it was tea all over the table on the carpet, and I'm glad it wasn't coffee this time, because if it was coffee then I would have had to clean the carpet, but because it was tea I just left it to dry. So now back from carpet to the painting. If you look at the text, it is a well-known Latin phrase which sounds like this: errare humanum est, which in English can be translated as to err is human. Now we know that, people know that God is infallible. God can never be wrong or fail, but we as humans, even some of the wisest human beings, can be wrong and can fail from time to time, generally speaking. So Realitas basically is telling us, highlights the difference between the vulnerable and limited human being and between the Almighty and infallible God. And it also remembers people that we should never be prideful. Pride is a deadly sin, the worst of the 7 deadly sins. Finally, the last one, the last artwork is called Drugs. It is one of my favorite ones. Not because I like drugs. I like it because of its truthfulness. The phrase that can be easily read in the artwork, "People are the best drugs for people," is a paraphrase of mine from basically, I was inspired to write this phrase from a quote from the Romanian-born psychologist Serge Moscovici. His original quote sounds like this. I will say it now in Romanian. Omul este cel mai mare drog pentru om, which in English can be translated as the man is the greatest drug for man. I like its truthfulness not only because it's true, so to say, but also because it has a dual meaning. It has a good meaning and a bad meaning. People can be the best drugs for people if it is to think about drugs as about medicine. That's a good meaning. That's a good meaning. And the best drug in form of human being was and still is Jesus Christ, because from the very beginning Jesus was healing people, and he is still healing people up till this day. So this is the overall good meaning, so to say, of drugs. And then I decided to show it from the bad perspective as well, by choosing a certain design, by basically placing the phrase in a specific angle, as you can see, which can remember us about the cocaine lines on a small shiny piece of metal or mirror. Images like this usually we can see only in the movies. Well, not only in the movies, I mean most of people, only in the movies. Those who have nothing to do with cocaine. As we know, cocaine as a drug can destroy people. So this is basically the bad meaning. Drugs is basically telling us that we as humans can be the embodiment of the devil when we try to destroy other human beings, and that we as humans also can be the embodiment of the Jesus Christ when we try to help, to heal, and to save other people, including through art, but not only. I hope I said everything what I had to say shortly. If you like this type of new art, or if you don't like, maybe, then you can let me know. You can let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to know. If you want to know more about Magistralism, to see more artworks, and to know more about God and how God can help you, then you can simply subscribe. Later one day I'll have to create more vids on this topic. Thank you for watching. God bless.